Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Fastball Sports Network WWE podcast. I am Frank. That is Mark. Mark, how you doing today?
Doing very well. As you previously mentioned to me, a lot of news going on right now in the world of wrestling. It's a good time to hop on here and chat about it. Where do you want to get us started?
Well, there's so much going on. Obviously, we're gearing towards a main event that I didn't think we were going to see happen in the WWE, or at least not quite right away. Um, we've got little White Rabbit vignettes in WWE. We've got news of mystery hires, the announcement of War Games, but I think I want to start in AEW. We have to kind of wrap up our conversations about CM Punk and the rest of the Elite and AEW. Um, I just do want to point out though, it's not actually going to be finished until it's finished. Like this might not be the last conversation we have about it. In fact, I know it won't be because we'll get the official news and then we'll kind of talk about that. But we don't have official news, but we have what it seems to be the streamlining of information here, where we think we know what's going on. So the latest reports on CM Punk are that it appears that he is done with AEW and that a contract buyout is probably going to be the way to go. Now, who knows what that contract buyout even entails, right? Like if he'll even accept a contract buyout. Say he's there and he's like, okay, well, I'm ready to go to work and I don't want to deal with this buyout. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this whole entire thing? And then we can break it down into the little parts.
So, do people still think this is a work, or are we past that?
I think we're past. I think
Okay.
anyone with a brain is past to work. I think the second they announced that AEW World Title, um, tournament, I think you had to get rid of the work, right? I think that had to be the last thing. I'm trying to think. Like I don't know what else could have done, but yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean it's absolutely crazy news. I feel like it was one of those things where when it happened, it was mentioned like Punk might be gone, but I think everyone was kind of like, he's not going to be gone. He's CM Punk. He's probably their biggest name. They're not going to get rid of him at this point, but I guess whatever happened, they can't get over. The reports say he's wrestled his last match in AEW. We'll probably have an official statement, like you were saying, in a few days or a few hours. Really, it could be at any moment now. Will pop up. CM Punk's been released of his AEW contract, whatever it may say, and it's crazy that we got here. It really is, based on from where we started to where we are now, and you got to think this is probably CM Punk's last hurrah. I doubt we see him in any like indie promotion. He's obviously not coming back to WWE. I feel like this is it for Punk.
That brings me into my next question, and I think I already know the answer, but I feel like it's worth asking because new regime and Triple H has always stated, anything is possible in wrestling. But this stunt that he pulled, and I think, I mean, listen, I don't want to take sides because I'm not as informed of it. I don't have the going backs. I don't know exactly what happened between Punk and Colt Cabana. I have a relative idea, but I don't know every one of the inner workings. I don't know what the lawsuit entailed and all that stuff. I don't know that much about Hangman Adam Page and his relationship with Colt Cabana. So I don't really want to take sides here. But the sense that I'm getting from wrestling media is that this is more on Punk than it is on the Elite. That's the sense that I'm getting. But also, and I just want to make this point again, Punk went and attacked the EVPs, right? So what does that stand for? Event vice president. Is it event? Is the E event
I'm
or
not sure.
I'm curious what the EVP means. I never even went to look that up. I know that the VP stands for vice president. I wonder what the E stands for. I'm gonna have to look that up at some point in time. But he went and attacked, the important people in that company that were the ones that have a little bit more say than the rest. So I'm not saying he didn't do anything wrong, but if he didn't do anything wrong, I still believe that this would have been the outcome. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Yeah,
not taking sides here, but I think that this was always going to have to be. I mean, if they lost Adam Page and the Bucks and Kenny Omega because they refused to fire CM Punk,
it would have
what
made
would
no
the,
sense.
what would all Elite wrestling look like without the Elite? Like this is what it had to be. If they and we don't know if the Bucks went to Tony Khan instead of Tim or us, but I imagine that that's probably what happened. I don't know.
Yeah, in that situation, it's a no brainer to keep three guys over one, even though, I mean, Kenny Omega, I think, is right there at the top with CM Punk in terms of name value. But still, if it's three guys who essentially built this company for you versus one guy who is a massive draw, but obviously is a cancer in the clubhouse and an absolute problem backstage, and it's kind of a no-brainer.
Right. I think I got off a little bit of a tangent here, but I'm asking you, and I want you to put your bias behind because I know you're a CM Punk guy. I know you love CM Punk. If you're sitting in Triple H's office right now and you hear that CM Punk has been bought out, his contract 6 months, no compete clause, probably something like that. He's gonna have to rehab that surgery. WrestleMania time comes around, CM Punk's starting to get healthy. Do you give him a call?
I would say pretty much no situation should WWE reach out to CM Punk at this point. You just kind of know it's just not going to work. Like it's one of those things where I think I would have a different tone if we're about 2 months back and Vince is still running the show and the show is consistently terrible. Then I kind of be like, yeah, they should probably make the call, try to do anything right now. But the direction they're going right now with Triple H, highlighting all these different stars, making these guys important that weren't important prior, and a legitimate light on the company. For the first time in a while, I want to tune in and see what they're going to do that night, which doesn't happen very often, at least under the Vince McMahon, the previous stature. And now it's just kind of, why even go there? Why even go back to that well when you know it's not going to work out too well? You'll have a massive draw, you'll have a massive guy, but you know his issues with Roman Reigns publicly. You know his issues with pretty much everyone in that company, with Triple H publicly. It makes no sense. They're not going to go back there.
I think I tend to agree. I mean, I'm sure I could play devil's advocate here and say he'd be a draw for them, no question,
But
right?
that's where it stops. That's where
And
it starts and ends.
and my other thought was the only way they could do this, clearly with him, the only way they could do this is giving him the part-time schedule. What Roman Reigns has right now, what Edge has right now, wrestles 5 or 10 Raws throughout the year, most of the pay-per-views. That would be the only way for me where I would say, okay, then, he can go and he can rest and he can clear his mind because clearly he gets very frustrated. That would be the only way for me. I would say, okay, maybe that's not a bad idea. If him and Triple H can work that and they're obviously workshop that and they're obviously in a different spot than AEW is in terms of part-timers. I mean, they've done it with Brock Lesnar mostly successfully at times. I know some people get a little pent up when he's not on TV. They're doing it now with Roman Reigns, and it's been I want to say successful. Obviously, it stinks that they're not there. But what's the saying? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. So maybe not seeing him for a little while. Edge has had a pretty good run since coming back. Obviously, every time Cena comes back, it's a great, huge deal. If they could pull something like that off, maybe I'd say so. But you're right. In terms of him being the bad locker room guy, he got his chance to be like the guy for wrestling, right? And it didn't work out.
I feel like this is such a negative connotation towards CM Punk as well, where I don't know, it'd be a massive pop. Everyone go crazy the first time cult personality hit, but overall, I feel like the baggage that comes with it, even the fans being so self-aware at this point between the dirt sheets and everything, I feel like they just kind of be like, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm not sure if I like this. As opposed to when Cody showed back up, everyone lost their minds because he left AEW in a positive light. It wasn't like a nonsensical, trash the company, which a lot of people watch both shows. So it's kind of like he did that to the previous place. He's coming here now. He obviously sold out. He obviously took a massive amount of money from Triple H and WWE to come here and do this after all the stuff he said about them. He basically said publicly, I would only go back there for obscene amounts of money. That's what he said. So it's just, I don't think it works. I don't think he would do it either. I think it would look really bad for his character if he showed back up on WWE.
I think I still look. He's CM Punk, and he's not the wrestler that he was. Okay, I watched that match with Moxley. It was very good. It wasn't one of his greatest matches ever.
He's
older,
45,
right? He's not he's got name value more than he's got in ring value, and that's not to say that he's a bad wrestler. That's not what I want. That's not what I'm trying to get out of this. But I do think that if they lean into him being the big bad heel, because I think, like you said, they might have that heat in that crowd, and he comes in every once in a while. They could probably make it work, but I think there's a lot to be said with what you said. Why bother? Why bother? They have so many good things going for them right now. Literally, for the first time ever, they have so many good things going for them right now. So not for the first time ever. That's a lie. For the first time in like 5 or 6 years,
In a
it really
long
feels
time.
like I think you brought it up on one of our previous episodes. Since the initial brand split, this is the best WWE television has been.
Mhm.
Consistently, weekly. We could probably
Yep.
find storylines or something. Like Roman this past few years has been excellent, regardless of who was in charge, right? But consistently, every wrestler contributing. This is the best it's been since that time, that initial Raw SmackDown brand split in probably 2016 or 2017. I don't know off the top of my head, but I think it was around that time period.
Yep.
So yeah. So just kind of wrapping this up, I just want to go to Tony Khan for a second. And I'm curious what your, he's said a lot. He's outspoken, and I kind of like that when, like Triple H is more outspoken than Vince was, right? Like Triple H is praising all the wrestlers, and like it's fun and it's positive energy, and it's like, wow, this guy really actually cares. And I get the sense that Tony Khan actually cares, which is good. You want somebody in charge actually caring about the product. If you're going to invest 2 hours a week into AEW and then you're going to buy their pay-per-view, you want the person that you're spending the money on to care about it, right? But a lot of his comments, I mean, he just makes so many, and like I just want to know what you think overall about him going on these podiums and making all these comments and taking all these interviews and going on all these podcasts. I like how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, fan is the key word. He's so clearly a giant wrestling fan. I'm sure sometimes that's gotten into a negative space as opposed to a positive space, but I think he's learning. I think it's still a relatively new company. I think he's doing things differently, which is admirable. I feel like I'm reading a lot of reports now that the AEW locker room is apparently like much better now, and everyone's they kind of turned the corner on the whole mess that happened. So I'm sure Punk is gone. They're gonna probably reintroduce the Bucks and Kenny Omega relatively soon. I doubt this is a long-term suspension for them. Once that starts happening again, I think he's doing okay. Truthfully, I know I was kind of bashing him a lot the last time we did this AEW show because it was so clear he was in over his head and did not have any control of the situation. But what can you do when one of the top stars in the world goes crazy on live TV? You can't cut him off. And I feel like he's bounced back decently well from that whole ordeal.
Yeah, I think I noted on that when we were talking about the AEW kind of nonsense craziness that was going on, that I felt bad for him, and I do feel like a lot of these shots that he takes at WWE are just like not unnecessary. Maybe he does have legitimate beefs with some of the things he's saying, but like he's so worried about what's happening over there, and it looks it to me like that's still like a fatal flaw in their character, like in the character of AEW, because it feels like everything that they do is a shot at WWE, and then WWE under Vince was like, we're not going to acknowledge them because we don't care because they're not our competition. And WWE under Triple H actually like is the same way. So like there's this clear mindset in WWE where like we're not going to acknowledge them. Like good for them. Good that they're starting their little show, but like we're not going to acknowledge them. So the fact that he feels the need to take all these shots when like it's so one-sided where like they're not even going to say anything else. Like the Crown Jewel comment the other day, like it's just like, dude, like you're putting on a good show. If like, just worry about that. Like you had a great show on Wednesday night.
It's true, no, but there's also an element to it where I think it's overdone. I think a few jabs here and there are fine, but on the contrary to what you're saying is, I only really see AEW clips when they take shots at WWE. So that's the point. You know what I'm not even trying to like
Okay.
troll them.
No, that's a really good point. That's a really good
I
point.
don't watch the program every day, but I go on Twitter and I say, "Oh, look what Max Caster's the guy who does the raps. Look what he said today about WWE," and it's like, "Oh, that was a decent shot." Or it is overdone. They jab in it too much, but at the same time, it's effective because that makes me get the attention of AEW.
Now does it get you to watch AEW?
It hasn't yet successfully, I don't think, but I'm just not overall interested in their product. It's not
Right.
so much. I don't know. I have a
I
hard
get what you're saying.
time getting invested in their characters. I love John Moxley, and then they have some other characters I'm interested in. I love Adam Cole, but I love them because WWE. I love Daniel Bryan. Like these are the guys. I I mean, I watch MJF stuff. He's entertaining, but I don't really. I have a hard time getting connected and invested in their product.
Right. Okay. No, that's all good points. I think everything you said was really good. Punk, uh, the Elite, Tony Khan, all good stuff there. We're gonna move on to actually, you know what? We're gonna stick with AEW for one more thing, and that is John Moxley winning AEW championship, I think it was a great move by them because I thought that everyone on Twitter, everyone kept saying it's going to be Bryan Danielson that goes home with the AEW championship, and they threw us the curveball and they made it John Moxley. And did you see the move that he used?
The curb stomp.
He used the curb stomp. I thought that was really cool.
That was very cool.
Just overall thoughts on Grand Slam, and good. I think they needed a show like that, right?
Yeah, no, it was a really good show, really positive reaction from everyone backstage. Even on Twitter, I was seeing a lot of things. They were just getting a lot of thumbs up, a lot of praise from the show. It looked like they did everything right for the most part. I know there was a big debut too. We talked about in a moment, but that was a total swerve. I think everyone thought Bryan Danielson was going to win that match. Of course, there was wide reports that Moxley was supposed to go on vacation. He was supposed to step away after the whole Punk match. Obviously, had to get called back into action when the whole mess happened. And this is definitely a wild card, but it's cool. It's cool when something happens in wrestling that you're not expecting to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to talk about AEW possibly sinking, the reason why it didn't sink was Chris Jericho, Bryan Danielson, and John Moxley, right? I mean, those guys came in and put on two of the better performances on Wednesday night. And I'm sorry, well, two. I say two because Moxley and Bryan Danielson were in the match together, and then Jericho obviously won the which world title?
Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor world title. Thank you. I was blanking.
He beat formerly known as Cesaro. He beat that guy already.
Claudio. I don't know.
Very Italian.
We're gonna call him Claudio. Okay. And then obviously the last big bit of AEW news that came out of Wednesday night was Paige, or formerly known as Paige, now I believe pronounced Saraya. Does that sound right? Yeah. Okay. I struggle with names in case our audience hasn't figured that out yet. So she came back, and that was a surprise to everybody. Obviously not cleared by WWE doctors, but cleared by other doctors. So she's going to be on AEW. Very happy for her. I hope that it's, safe and healthy. You're shaking your head here. Go ahead. What do you got to say about it?
I'm very concerned. It's her neck. It's not a joke. Obviously, she's okay enough with her own self-body to feel okay to be doing this. I think it's very telling that WWE did not want to clear her. I just remember the footage from that live event when Sasha Banks kicked her and she crumbled. It was like the scariest sight ever. Like you thought she was paralyzed. Yep. And it's a huge get for them if she's healthy. It's a massive get. She was amazing in her early years, but it's just, I'm concerned. I am scared for her.
All right. I mean, look, that's more than fair. I hope that the doctor that cleared her really knows what they are doing. Because like you said, it would be a shame if something, even worse happened to her. She can walk right now, she can move around in the normal aspect of life, or at least that's what it seems like. So if she couldn't do that, that would be really, really sad and really, really scary. But if this is what she wants, I'm happy for her. I hope that she, gets everything she wants out of this, and I hope she makes a great impact on AEW, and I look forward to following, what she's doing there. But we will move on past AEW and go to WWE. And there's a lot coming out of WWE the last few weeks, too. Let's start with the White Rabbit teases. Just want a yes or no. Is it Bray Wyatt?
I can't give a yes or no, but I have a situation for you / a conundrum. Okay. I think they are putting themselves in a difficult corner that if it's not Bray Wyatt, it's going to be extremely disappointing.
I 100% agree with that. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people saying that it might be for Cross, but I don't know why they'd be giving him vignettes when he already appeared and he's in this thing with McIntyre. So that to me doesn't really make any sense.
No, yeah, I saw those reports too. That might be Cross. I think it's Bray. All the indications point that he was on his way back from all the reports we were reading. Like I said, if it's not him and you're going to try to use someone else to make their kind of either debut or reintroduction, I don't see it being taken positively if it's not Bray Wyatt.
I believe it happened during an Alexa Bliss match, which I think is a good indication that it might be Bray Wyatt. And I'm really hoping it is Bray Wyatt. I mean, how can you not hope that it's Bray Wyatt? You know what I mean?
No, definitely.
Who could this be that's not Bray Wyatt that you're hoping?
Alexa still kind of carries some of her spooky stuff in she has the doll still, of course. I think Bray's last appearance was at WrestleMania when Alexa kind of made him lose doing that weird thing with the black stuff. Yeah, it was
Oh,
strange.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
But yeah, no, I think it's Bray. I really hope for everyone's sake if it's like I'm trying to think, they have like a spooky guy in NXT. If it's like his introduction, I think he's gonna get booed. Like I don't think it's gonna be a positive light for anyone else.
You know who I was thinking? I was doing like worst case scenario on like who could this be, and like I'm trying to think of like old NXT guys with like gimmicks that like they could turn spooky or whatever. And the first guy, and I don't even know why I thought this, but the first guy that came to mind was you remember Adam Rose?
The Rosebuds?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
fun guy. He had like I believe before he was the like crazy party guy, he was like supposed to be like weird and crazy. And like even when they made him the party guy, like it was supposed to be like a freaky thing, and then I think he got to the main roster and they just turned it to like more like a fun thing, you know.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, I was like worst case scenario, I was like this could be Adam Rose, but just a little throwback there, but it's not. It's gonna be Bray Wyatt. I'm really hoping it's gonna be Bray Wyatt because
I saw Sean Ross Sapp, one of the big WWE Twitter guys, was saying talent and WWE has been super tight-lipped about the whole thing. Like no one really knows what it is, which is cool. It's fun.
perfect. Keep it tight-lipped. I don't want to know, but I do want it to be Bray Wyatt.
Yep.
Okay, we will continue with whew, we got a bunch of good stuff here to talk about, but let's go with War Games. All right. Let's talk about Survivor Series, War Games. Obviously, Triple H loved the War Games match. We had a few incredible War Games match. I think we were watching the one together where Kevin Owens came and he fought the Undisputed Era, and that was before the Survivor Series where NXT was involved. So that was a great weekend for wrestling. War Games at Survivor Series. We know it's not going to be SmackDown versus Raw. Thoughts on War Games?
Really exciting and fun announcement for sure. I kind of told you I'm a little bit split on the idea of getting rid of the traditional 5-on-5. I thought that was a really fun. Obviously, hasn't hold much stakes or weight, but I was kind of excited to see what Triple H was going to do with that in terms of story building and doing the SmackDown versus Raw. It's not confirmed that that's not a match. We're just kind of assuming that this War Games is taking the place of the traditional 5-on-5. We're gonna have to wait and see. It's gonna be really exciting. I think we're under the assumption right now that the Bloodline will be one of the teams in the War Games match, being the Usos, Roman Reigns, and Solo, and then we kind of have to see what the other four is. So it's exciting. It's a fun idea.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for War Games, all things considering. I hope they don't take the 5-on-5s out. I would love, and they have enough talent right now. Really, I would love a brand War Games and then a brand Survivor Series match, a 5-on-5, because I think the 5-on-5 match is great. And what War Games doesn't give you is that like elimination factor, like that one versus all. There's always this one team always has the advantage at one point in time where they'll have one more person.
Yeah.
But once you get 2 and 3 people, it kind of lessens that. You know what I mean? Where Survivor Series, like you could be down to 5-on-1 or 5-on-2, and like you have to see how those 2 people that don't work. It's look different dynamics and they're different matches, and that's why I think they could pull them off. It would be one of the longer cards of the year, but like you said, like Survivor Series could be fun with a War Games match thrown in there, 2 War Games match, 2 Survivor Series match, not too much of either, a men's, a women's, and that's it. You know what I mean? And then just kind of have the the champions fight each other or something like that. And since Roman is both champions, he doesn't have to fight. He'll fight in more games. You know, it'll be more story based. But yeah, no, I overall, how could you not be excited about this? Really, I mean, War Games is just such a different match. There's 2 rings in the middle of the ring or in the middle of the stage. So I mean, like it's just totally different than anything that happens.
I know just on the surface, you and I are kind of thinking Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on one side versus the Bloodline, and we obviously don't know, but just speculation that makes a lot of sense. So we'll see. It's gonna be really fun.
I call it the Indie Darlings team, right? It was Kevin Owens, Johnny Gargano, Sami Zayn, and Tommaso Ciampa, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, listen, sign me up for that match.
Right? Yeah, no, but those last 2 spots could definitely be a lot of different people. I just think Kevin Owens and Sami are like locks.
Yeah, I wonder what the Bloodline order is going to be. Uso, Solo, Roman, or Solo, Uso, Roman, or Uso, Solo, Uso, Roman. curious. Very curious.
Who cares?
We can dissect that more when we know that they're actually going to be in the match, though. We will move on to another match that involves a member of the Bloodline, and that is Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns. And this is the main event of Crown Jewel. I don't know where exactly Crown Jewel is taking place. I know it's Saudi Arabia. I don't know if they're back in Jeddah, so I will not speculate on that. I will just wait until I can confirm it. But yeah, you have mixed reactions about this match, right? Because I know that we both agree that Logan Paul is a phenomenon. Like we are excited to see him get in the ring again, right? Like
I like Logan Paul a lot. He's awesome in the ring. He likes Pokemon. I appreciate that. I don't like at all him facing Roman Reigns, especially not at this stage of his career. My problem with this match is it's a Roman Reigns match. So there's going to be multiple spots and times where Logan Paul is going to look like he's going to beat Roman Reigns. It's going to take the Usos and distractions and complications for Roman Reigns to retain against Logan Paul. And that's problematic to me. I don't think that should be a thing. He's going to get a lot of offense in on Roman Reigns. I don't like that.
I love the way you said Roman Reigns there. You're like Roman Reigns. Like,
because he's the guy that we've spent how long building up to be this freaking monster at the top. No one can beat this guy, and he's not going to win. There's no shot Logan Paul wins this match.
No shot.
But I hate the idea of him even looking like he's going to beat Roman.
You know what? I think that the WWE has a task on their hands, but if they book it right, give me some nonsense. Give me all the nonsense that we thought was going to happen during the Drew Roman match that we never got, because that's really what that match didn't need that much nonsense, and then had like a little bit of nonsense at the end, but it was really great nonsense. This match could probably use a lot of nonsense, So give me that. But you got to have people coming to Logan Paul's aid, because you're right. He can't fight off the Bloodline 5-on-1. Like, this can't be Sammy comes in and then and then the Usos come in and then Solo comes in and he's like fighting all of them off, and then he's about to pin Roman and then something else happens and then Roman spears him and wins. Like, that can't be this, Like,
yep.
I agree. We need to get the man some help. But if we get him the proper help, then I'm in, I think that this has all the makings of a ton of fun. And if there was no championship on the line, I think we'd be really, really excited. If Roman wasn't the champion right now, say Drew won, and then this was the next match that they decided to go with, I think everyone would be thrilled. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. It'd be a lot better if the title wasn't involved.
But there is a title involved, and again, we're gonna have to see how they book it. Is there? Oh, the last thing, the last rumor, and this was about a week ago, and I don't really know what it really means, but apparently there are, like you said, about the Bray Wyatt thing, that WWE and creative are keeping it very under wraps. Same thing about more people coming back to WWE. There are rumors that more people are on their way back to WWE, and the only report was not names that we think. So we're not talking about Bray Wyatt right now. We're not talking about, I don't know who else. I think he's pretty much brought back everyone that we thought he was going to bring back. He brought back.
So the Fashion Police are coming back?
I mean, it's possible.
I don't even know who that entails. We'd have to go look at like the release list from years past and try to pick names. I don't really know.
Yeah, no, I don't know either. I'm assuming that it's probably some NXT guys. I'm really like trying to think off the top of my head on who they might bring back, but I don't know. I wonder if it's like older guys that got released that they might be on their way back, I don't know who that would be. I don't know. I really am in the dark on this. I'm very curious. Someone's going to show up in the next month or so, and we're going to be like, oh, that was who they were talking about. Maybe multiple people. Because that's what it said. It said hires, not hire, not one person. It said multiple people. So I'm very curious to see where this goes. And he's done a great job of keeping things fresh, throwing in new loops, throwing in new things. At a certain point, they might bring in too many people, but I don't think they've gotten to that point yet. So I guess I will worry about that when they get there.
Yeah, with Raw being 3 hours, I feel like you never have too many people.
Right. And how good have they done with filling out Raw on a week-to-week basis?
It's been very good. And honestly, it's highlighting by the matches. The matches have been really high quality, and they're different. They're not the same match every week. Hasn't been the consistent 50-50 booking. They're just doing things very smallly different, but very impactfully different.
My one complaint, we've taken out the 24/7 championship. That's not the complaint. I'm absolutely fine with that. But we do need to find a way to get R-Truth on this show. One R-Truth segment I'm good. I need that. I need that in my life. You know, every other week we get a little raw. We get a little our truth segment. 5 minutes.
It's pretty funny how it just disappeared.
It's dead.
It's
Dead.
I wonder, is it still listed on the website?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question.
We'll have to check after. But
I
no,
am
yeah, I
curious.
mean, everyone loves our truth. I think we definitely find a way to get them on TV a couple times a week.
Yeah, we got to do that. Whether it's Raw and SmackDown. Oh, and that's my other question for you. So we did our brand split thing, but now with this War Games and they're saying that it's not going to be Raw versus SmackDown. Do we think maybe they just combine the rosters? They get rid of Raw and SmackDown exclusive rosters, or do you think maybe they're still planning on doing that?
I don't think. I mean, right now it's kind of just overflowed on both shows. There's no really like structure, but at the same time, if you remember the draft, I don't know if it was the last year's draft or a few years ago, they did the draft right before Survivor Series.
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks before Survivor.
It makes no sense. Like you're pledging your allegiance to this brand that you just joined a minute ago, and you're fighting. It made no sense. So maybe Triple H wants to kind of have it be a little messy for now, and then kind of put things into real construction post Survivor Series, which I think he could do a draft like relatively soon and still have time, but it could also feel a little bit rushed. So maybe he wants to do it post Survivor Series, then kind of have some clarity on the situation.
Yeah, I would say if they're gonna do Raw versus SmackDown and Survivor Series, and I really have no clue if they still have plans to include that or not. My inkling, like what I'm thinking, is that they probably do not have plans for Raw versus SmackDown right now. But then you look at the Survivor Series thing, and it's blue on one side and red on the other side, and then says War Games at the bottom. So I mean, like blue and red, that's SmackDown versus Raw. You know what I mean? So again, like you said, hopefully they don't do a draft the week before Survivor Series or 2 weeks before Survivor Series. That's not great. You don't just get handed a blue T-shirt and they're all about SmackDown. You know what I mean?
We want to believe at this point that Triple H wouldn't do that based on what we know. Yep.
Right. So I mean, I guess we're gonna have to keep track and see. Like you said, say they announced tomorrow night. It's Thursday, the September 22nd right now, and Survivor Series is a Thanksgiving weekend tradition. So, or depending on the year, sometimes it's the weekend of Thanksgiving, sometimes it's the weekend before Thanksgiving, sometimes it's the weekend after Thanksgiving, but it's always around Thanksgiving. So tomorrow, the 23rd of September, they announced that they're going to be a draft starting not next Monday, but the Monday after that. Sure, we could do that. That's plenty of time. They have a Crown Jewel pay-per-view in between that. So we can do that. That'll be fine. I'd say anything later than like a Monday or two down the line to start the draft, probably too late, maybe 3 Mondays down the line. I'm just nitpicking here, but yeah, that's just my thought on it. But yeah, I guess that's gonna wrap it up for us. A lot of news happening in wrestling, and I honestly don't expect it to slow down. We are in that season now. This is the time. We've got these White Rabbit vignettes that we're gonna be following. We still don't have an official word on CM Punk yet, though we think we know what's happening. And just so much going on right now. So it's gonna be fun, and I'm excited. We'll come to you soon for our Crown Jewel predictions. If there is a draft, we'll obviously be covering that. There is one more pay-per-view before Crown Jewel, right? That is Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules is in October.
So we will be all over that when that starts to roll around and we have a little bit more clarity on a card there, and just, so we are excited for the next few weeks. And yeah, that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys for watching.